almost falls down. Throws to the end zone. Owen! Owen! Owen!
It will change, and I'm not trying to tell you something. It's going to change. It's not like that, okay? But I want you to understand where I'm coming from. It will change, and it will change because they wanted to change, not because of me. It will change because they want to be champions.
Smith in the gun, McGraw on his left hip. Third down, Alex takes the snap. Alex looking, got it, post, and it's good! Touchdown, 49! Vernon Davis with the play of his life. It all comes to this fourth down. 4th and 4 at the San Francisco 10. Ryan in a shotgun. Rodgers to his left. 3 receivers right. Ryan takes the snap. Looking, pressure, throws middle. Broken up! Fight it! Navarro Bowman! And the 49ers silence the house.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the motherfucking Gold-Blooded Podcast. This right here, this is playoff heat. We're bringing it to you. It's coming at you fucking hot. We had some wild card games go down this weekend. We know who we're playing, the fucking Minnesota Vikings. And you like that, Kirk Cousins? Yeah, suck my dick, guy. I'm Joe, also known as Daddy. We got Steve and Rob and Chris is over there. Chris, how are you? All right, I'm great. And that's that. We were just having some good conversation on heroin and Molotov cocktails, and now we are fired right in there to the football thing here. It's the playoffs, folks. The time is upon us. It's time to sacrifice the goats in the backyard, get this thing rolling. We got a big game coming this week.
I'd like to change things up. I think this week, one time only, you need to read the injury report.
All right.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've been doing
yeah.
the same.
No. Nope.
Well, hold on.
Hold
on.
Because we know.
I'm all for that, but if this thing goes sour this week, right?
Okay. All right, don't change it.
You know
don't
what I
change
mean?
it.
Like-
You'll see why when he reads it. But okay.
right.
Yeah. Just to add on to that intro, I just want to say how refreshing it is to finally have the playoff heat being brought back to the show for the first time at 5 years?
Ever?
We had the first year. First year of the podcast was 2013. Went to the NFC Championship game, but this show was not even remotely close to what it is now back then.
See, what's odd about me is I have like this weird memory. Like I could remember what color my mother painted the kitchen in 1984, Like I remember things that are insane, but I have little to no recollection of recording the first 3 years of this podcast. I was heavy drinking then. Not heavy, but more drinking. And
Medicated?
We're always medicated.
He's talking
but-
about what's changed, Steve. The alcohol has
Yeah,
changed. Medication hasn't.
Easy. It's just I don't really remember that playoff run and talking about it every week. I just don't.
Yeah.
I should listen.
It was a long time ago.
I don't give a fuck, but I should listen. All right. Well, regardless, we're here now. The playoffs are now. The Vikings, they're gonna fucking lose. Cunts.
Injuries and news and updates. All right, everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone won.
Everyone won on the active roster has practiced this week and should be good to go for this weekend. I've heard that is the first time this entire year, going all the way back to the first game, that's happened.
Now, that's a bit skewed because
we have players
DJ
on
Jones
IR.
is on IR.
Right.
So, but everyone on the active roster has practiced, and I think the only one limited was D Ford, and I think that's just precautionary.
Right. Yeah. So we're
That's
likely.
that's why I wanted Joe to read the first ever no injury report.
Yeah, like even week one, it's like we never gotten
No.
that. You know what I mean?
It's always somebody hurt.
Yeah. So just to revisit some guys that we're getting back, Kwaski Tart is 100% back, full go.
Just keep up, Tart.
Should play every single snap. Quan Alexander initially was reported that he probably wouldn't be ready unless we made it to the championship game, and then news came out this past week that he's also now a week ahead of schedule of that. So he's likely to go in this game. But
I wish I could find the article. Somebody definitely wrote that he was not eligible until the championship game.
Yeah,
Which is clearly wrong.
Yeah, right. Clearly.
Yeah.
I wondered about that too.
Yeah, somebody said that. I read that somewhere. It was just somebody wrong, obviously.
But it's to be seen how many snaps he actually gets. I feel like him and D Ford were also getting back. Between those two, how much they're actually going to end up playing in the game. I'm sure the score plays a factor, situation plays a factor, but
and also the level that Greenlaw's playing at.
yeah. So great to get those guys back for sure. You always worry about like rust. First game back. We remember how rusty Joe Staley and McGlinchey were in their first game back. All the way back in November. But I think just even if Quan doesn't look immediately like he did early in the year, just having him out on the field, his energy, his presence, the leadership, I think is going to bode well.
Just the fact that he worked that hard to get to this,
Yeah,
has got to be motivation.
I'm so fucking pumped for him coming back. We lost a lot of guys this year. We always lose some guys. There's a couple guys. We look at our IR list, and there's definitely a couple names on there I wish were back. But out of everybody, this pumps me the fuck up. I read something that somebody said, Quan is like the heartbeat of the defense, and it's not taking away from any of the other guys, but his energy is just irreplaceable.
multiple players say
Hot
that.
boys.
Said that. Hot boys, yeah.
I almost ordered a Hot Boys sweatshirt.
Yeah, I would say he's maybe not performance-wise, but emotional leadership-wise, he's the George Kittle of the defense.
Yeah,
Definitely energy-wise.
The team says that he could be looked at as an MVP because of his energy.
Yeah.
And Saleh said that whenever there's any lull in practice, any at all, that Quan is the first one to get everyone back and motivated and rolling.
Yeah. He's been with the team all season, even when he's been injured, but it's just not the same when you're not out there on the field.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so good news. George Kittle was named first-team All-Pro tight end, and Richard Sherman and DeForest Buckner were named second-team All-Pro at their respective positions. My only wonder of that was how Nick Bosa did not get at least second team All-Pro, and the fact that DeForest Buckner made second team All-Pro and Eric Armstead didn't, when I feel like a majority of the year Eric Armstead outplayed DeForest Buckner. I don't know. I don't really understand what these voters look at.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like All-Pro used to be like, kind of on the money. Like even players that go under the radar nationally, like All-Pro would always get it right. They always know everybody.
Like the year that Bowman didn't get the Defensive Player of the Year, wasn't he still All-Pro that year?
Yes.
But yeah, that's that was the era where I felt like, well, at least they get it right. You know what I mean?
Justin Smith, too. Nobody nationally ever talked about Justin Smith, but every 49ers fan knew exactly what Justin Smith meant to the team, and the All-Pro voters got it right. And he was Justin Smith was voted first-team All-Pro at two different positions in 1 year. Interior defensive lineman and defensive end.
I just love that Sherman got all that money that everyone doubted him on.
Yes.
That's the best part.
Yeah, he did end up hitting
every goalpost along the way,
and
got every dollar that everyone shit-talked.
I will say it right now. Back then, there is not a bone in my body that believed that Richard Sherman was hitting.
Nope.
I didn't know. I didn't think he
incentives.
was getting them. I really did.
not.
I was like, it's a great deal for the Niners.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if he becomes an All-Pro and whatever the other things were, well, then great. We'll take that. You know what I mean?
To me, that's how every contract should be.
Right.
Because then you earn the money that you get paid.
Yeah.
George Kittle should be paid way more than he's paid right now.
Yes.
Because he's on that rookie deal. And then when he gets his deal, he's going to get paid a shitload of money. And then if he doesn't make All-Pro, he made more money the year he wasn't as good as it doesn't make any sense. I think that would be great if that was a way to do it. If there was a way to, guarantee a certain amount in case they get hurt or whatever. They're putting their life on the line, their body on the line, whatever. And then everything else was incentive laden.
It's interesting.
that would be so. Imagine how much harder everyone would try if that's how everything worked.
Right. It's interesting. Like how would they do that though? Like if you have like a large portion of your team all on incentive based deals, and everybody hits their incentive, everybody plays out of their mind,
Then you win a
do
Super
then you're
Bowl.
winning
You win the Super Bowl, but do you go over the cap?
That's what I'm saying. If there was no
Like-
cap, if
No,
it was
you've
all,
got- no.
if the league had a guideline,
Right.
like a wide receiver that catches this many catches gets this much. I don't know how. The problem is you got situations like Steve Young always talks about, where I think it was Bryant Young was one catch away from a bonus.
Brent Jones, you mean?
Maybe.
Yeah.
So he took a snap and threw him a pass behind
Right.
the line of scrimmage
Yep.
just to get him the.
Yeah.
So like that's what you run into with that.
Well,
Yeah.
did you see what the Well, we talked about it earlier in the year, how Sherm was coming up short, or he wasn't going to hit the playing time, or he had a certain percentage,
And Lynch
and
gave
they
it to
were
him.
like, don't push it, we're going to give it to you anyway,
Yeah, that's how it should
Yeah,
be.
so there's definitely faults in it. I just love it. I think it's great.
Yeah,
I think it's great for Sherman. He got all that money, and it's great for us. He earned all
And
that
I
money.
love how he was able to tell all the people who criticized him.
Yeah, go
to
suck.
fuck.
Well,
you
the
know,
criticism was because none of that money was guaranteed, as opposed to a lot of contracts that get signed are fully guaranteed regardless of how you perform.
But he
actually-
wasn't getting that much guaranteed at that age, and coming off an injury was
definitely
the point.
not.
No.
He gambled on himself and won.
For sure.
Yeah.
And even if you read the articles, because there were a lot of articles that came up recently about it. He was saying how even his wife was in on
Yeah.
it, and she added one of the I think it was the All Pro one. She was like, no, she had a big part in that, which is awesome.
What makes it different is if he'd have signed one of those deals that everyone said he should have signed that had more guaranteed money, he would have made less money because he wouldn't have
Long-term.
got these bigger incentives.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
for sure.
that's his point of telling everyone to go fuck.
Yeah.
He made more money because he didn't do what everybody said he should have done.
Right.
I think that's the point on this one. And if he hurt himself, it wouldn't have mattered. He wouldn't have made all that.
Exactly.
It could have gone the other way very easily.
Yeah, so I mean, what a bounce back for him in his career. I mean, he's put out a dominant season. Like, he's not getting second team All Pro on name recognition. He actually earned that.
Yeah, look at the numbers.
And he said, I was listening to him on a athletic podcast this week. He said that even though this season he doesn't really have like the interceptions and the passes defense and maybe even the tackles, but he says that he feels that this season is his best season as a pro because he's never given up a single play this entire year over 20 yards.
Solid today. Somebody asked Solid today about his pre-snap reading and what he knows is going to happen based on what the offense is doing. And Solid said that he's never seen a corner that thinks that way.
Mm-hmm.
He said corners are usually just, that's my guy I'm covering, or that's my zone I'm covering, and not whatever everything else is going on. He said normally the way Sherman diagnoses what they're doing is something you get out of a linebacker, something he'd see out of Fred Warner, something you might see out of a safety, but not out of a corner.
And I think that
And that's probably because he went to Stanford.
So smart.
I think that if there was, a chink in the armor where
Racist.
We don't use those racist terms here, Steve.
is that racist?
Chink in the armor is not.
Okay.
If you didn't say in the armor, it's very, very racist.
Okay. Fair.
Hence the joke. We were kidding.
If there was a flaw to his game, I feel like it would have over the past, even going back to the first year he was with us last year. I mean, he wasn't. He's put out a better year this year, but still, even last year, he wasn't. The theory is that we don't know how good he is or isn't because he wasn't really tested. And this year, he's not getting tested at all. And if there was a flaw, there would have been at one point in time a quarterback, a wide receiver, an offensive coordinator, a head coach that would have exploited that flaw.
Yeah.
And we have not seen that one single time in 2 years.
For sure.
So, I
But
mean,
before we get into moving on
yeah.
to the Vikings game, I'd like to make a statement. I went back and listened to a lot of beginnings of old podcasts, trying to get the quote of Joe saying these are not the guys, and I could not find it. So I'm going to secede that Joe is correct and he did not say it. Just because, I can't keep listening to these fucking old podcasts. In my heart of hearts, I feel like he did, but I couldn't find it, so I'm going to secede. I'm going to say that he's correct, and he did not say that. I will, however, tell you that 2 years ago in 2017, Joe quit the podcast. At the end of the season, he was not podcasting with us anymore. He was not watching the 49ers anymore because the soccer team, the USA soccer team, had really burned him up. And so he was quitting watching sports because of what it was doing to his life.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he was quitting sports.
I mean, I know I was really
It was taking
bummed.
too much of a toll on his life.
Yeah.
And he was not going to be podcasting with us. He was going to finish the season because he wouldn't abandon us mid-season.
Classy.
Yeah.
So let me tell you this.
And also, for the record, we want you to say insane shit.
No, I know. I'm not going to stop.
And we know that you're not doing it to say insane shit.
No,
you're an insane person,
I'm just who I am.
and we appreciate that.
But listen,
that's what. Otherwise, it would just be me and Steve going, "Yeah, this is going to get better, right? Yeah, cool. All right, move on."
No,
You know, like
so-
that's not cool.
No, all I have to say in regards to the what people think I said. If I said that, I would tell you right now. Like I wouldn't be like, I didn't say it. I didn't say it.
And I assumed that it was like in a heat because there's a lot of tension in those podcasts.
Oh, I know.
There's a lot of tension.
Yeah, I bet
in
it's
those
awkward.
podcasts.
Yeah.
And if you did say it, I don't think you believed it at the time. I think it was just like us telling you it's gonna get better, and then it just kept going, and then
I
you
might
just went
have said-
higher, just to tell us to fuck
but
off.
For whatever it was worth, I always tried to be smart about that because I'm not trying to say like, oh, I knew they were going to turn it around because, quite frankly, I mean,
Nobody does.
No, listen to the shit I was spewing, but I knew there was a good chance they were going to at least improve.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean.
But for the
So-
record, if you did say it, I would know that you were saying it just the same reason you say I'm going to drink a cup of piss, or the same way you say I'm going to quit the podcast, or the same way, all these other claims. I get that it's part of you and it's part of the theater of the situation, but that doesn't mean I didn't want to find the recording so that we could play it for you so you could get really mad at us.
Yeah, no, it would have been great, but
It also is very apparent during those episodes how much your tension is directed directly at Steve, even though Steve and I were saying the exact same stuff.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I just you remember how many emails I had? 3,700. I just deleted them.
Oh,
Good.
congratulations.
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
Select all. Delete.
Okay. All right. So,
We're going to change it up this week, basically,
yeah.
right? You
This week, instead of, well, obviously we don't have a game to review because the 49ers didn't play last week, we're going to end up, we typically look ahead to our next opponent in episode 2. We're going to do that in episode 1, and a lot of our stuff is going to be flip-flop, so we're going to have more serious stuff in episode 1, more fun stuff in episode 2.
Nothing is really serious, let's be clear.
No.
Right, okay.
No, nothing's really ever serious.
Thank you.
But, so we'll just get right into it. The Vikings, they, I don't think that you would have found a single person, non-Vikings fan, on planet Earth that thought that the Minnesota Vikings was beating New Orleans Saints in New Orleans. But they did. And here they are. And their fate was determined, Niners' fate and their fate were determined the minute that game ended. Didn't even matter what happened in the Philly-Seattle game. So the Vikings, how they beat the Saints, they pretty much wrecked the Saints' game plan with pressure, interior pressure, and they ran extremely efficiently in the first half. I think I saw Dalvin Cook had like 80 yards in the first half, but he only had 16 yards in the second half. And the second half is where Kirk Cousins had to do some more work because the run was starting to get stopped. And, I mean, he looked sketchy at points in that game. He looked like Kirk Cousins at points in that game. But when it came down to it in overtime, he made a big throw to Thielen to get him inside the 5-yard line.
That was a hell of a throw, yeah.
And he made the game-winning touchdown throw, which is still being controversial. And regardless of whether you thought it was offensive pass interference or not, that was only first down. They were still going to have 2 more tries to get in the end zone before they kicked the field goal. And then the Saints were going to have to match it. So regardless of whether you thought it was OPI, non-OPI, I don't think that it fully decided the game. I think the Vikings were scoring there regardless. I mean, I was shocked.
Going into this past weekend, I don't like to pick that I'm rooting for someone to play against because I think that's a super bad jinx.
Yes.
But I think if I looked at it on
Case
paper,
in point, 2011, I wanted... We beat the Saints in that epic game, and then we were already in the NFC Championship game, and it was Green Bay versus the New York Giants. Green Bay was the number 1 seed that year. They were on fire. and the New York Giants were an 8-8 team that just squeaked in, and I was rooting for the 8-8 New York Giants, so
Right.
that way we could play them
At home.
as opposed to traveling to Green Bay.
Correct. And we should have
how
won
did-
that game too. Fuck Kyle Williams.
Yeah.
Period. But
and-
I think it's a little different to root for home field than just to pick a team to go. I think part of us was rooting for that game to be in Santa Clara rather than Green Bay.
Yeah.
But to even still, it's you're right. It's never a good thing to root for a team to play
Careful
against.
what you wish for.
It's never, ever a good idea. But I think if I were to rank them on paper of who we match up against, I probably would have put the Eagles at the top of the team I'd like to face. I did not want to play Seattle again.
Mm-hmm.
I did not want to play Seattle again. However, I'm not confident in beating the Saints twice the way that they played us and the way that those two teams matched up. And I didn't have any idea where to put Minnesota. After the way they fucking flopped against Green Bay the week before, I was like, this team isn't going anywhere. But after watching them, the way that defense played the Saints and did what our defense could not do to the Saints, that's what scared me.
Yeah.
Watching that defense shut down Drew Brees the way our defense couldn't is fucking scary.
Yeah.
I think of these two teams, I think whoever wins this game is winning the NFC, first of all. I think whoever wins this game is going to steamroll either Seattle or Green Bay. That's my prediction. And I think that they're very evenly matched, and I think they do the same thing.
Yeah.
They're the only two teams in the entire NFL that had more rushing touches than passing.
And they were banged up a majority of the year. Adam Thielen was out for, God, it felt like 7 or 8 weeks. They had.
Is he the one that didn't practice today as well?
He's the one that hurt his ankle today.
He hurt his ankle today.
But no word on severity.
And Diggs was.
Hopefully he doesn't have an ankle.
Diggs did not practice today due to an illness, but
Hopefully he has lost something as well.
yeah. And they were.
I mean, Dalvin Cook is the real problem.
They were missing offensive linemen throughout the year.
Cook was not healthy a lot.
Cook got banged up towards the end of the year, and now they're starting to get healthy. Kind of like we have a ton of players on IR, but we're starting to get players back. Yeah, it's definitely a scary team.
It wasn't a week ago. It is now.
Right after that,
After the Green Bay game, it was not scary.
and I would hate to overreact to one single game that they had. Like,
Yeah, I'm sure
Kirk Cousins has played 30 what you would call big games,
Yep.
primetime games against big opponents or playoff games, and he's played. Let's just say he's played 30 of them. He's lost 29 of them. I mean, the dude is just notorious for not showing up in the games that really fucking matter. And last week he finally did. And
I'm just glad that he doesn't have that little bit of extra for Shanahan. Like, Shanahan was on his side in Washington. Shanahan wanted him, not RG3.
Right.
Rather than he's going against the team that wanted RG3 instead of him.
Right.
Like, that's just something you don't want to give a competitor.
so
It's scary. I don't know what's going to happen.
in preparation for this one, I do have quite a bit of stats that I found meaningful.
Ooh.
You know, how we're going to stop Minnesota's offense. Kirk Cousins currently leads the league in average time to throw.
Ooh, I like that.
Leads the
I like
league
that.
in average time to throw.
Okay. That's good news.
And he also leads the league in, there's time to throw, and then there's how fast you get it off. And he has the most amount of time in both of those categories.
Ooh. He's slow at getting it off, Joe.
Might not be a bad thing.
It's great for us.
No, it is good for us.
I think that-
and he's not that mobile, right?
Not extremely mobile, but I feel like a much of that is attributed to the amount of play action that they use because
I think he's like a Jimmy as far as mobility.
They're
He
similar.
can move if he needs to.
they're very
Under
similar.
pressure. I don't think he's outrunning. He's not a Wilson. He's not ducking down.
Oh,
and
no.
missing a tackle. Neither is Jimmy. But they can run if they need to, if there's an opening or they're under pressure.
I would say as far as throwing on the run, Jimmy is superior to
Agree.
Kirk Cousins can't throw on the run, but Kirk Cousins can run the bootleg play action and stop, set his feet, and then throw. But Kirk throwing on the run usually isn't good. But the amount of play action that they use is very eye-opening. They run, out of all of their pass attempts, 33% of them come off of play action
Wow.
because they have a serious threat of running and running efficiently with Dalvin Cook and Alexander Madison. So they run play action a lot, more than we do. And as to compound that, Minnesota also leads the league by an insane margin in snaps taken under center as opposed to snaps taken in shotgun. They take 71% of their snaps under center.
That's good too.
Do you know what the next closest team is?
59. I don't know.
Close. 71%. San Francisco is the next closest team.
I was gonna say Niners.
57.
Wow,
Huge margin.
that's good. That's
So-
also good for us.
That's just because he's lining up under center, don't think that it's not a pass. Like, they're running play action.
Yeah, it's great.
And
I just think it's if you're gonna pass the ball, it's better for us to get to him from under center than from shotgun.
yeah, and I think that's where D Ford comes in.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
D4 coming back.
Minnesota.
and Earl Mitchell too.
Yes. Well, we'll see what he has.
We'll
I mean,
see.
he was doing something strange a few weeks ago. What was he doing? He was selling something.
Was he?
Yeah. Chris, any chance you could find out what Earl Mitchell was doing 2 weeks ago? Because it was something.
Pull up the logs.
He wasn't playing football.
You gotta be able to tackle this team because Minnesota has the 5th most rushing yards after contact. So Dalvin Cook, Alexander Madison, just because you get a hand on them doesn't mean they're going down. You got to be able to bring them down to the ground, sure tackling, which is a good thing that we're getting Kwaski Tart back, because one thing about Marcel Harris that we found out is that although he can lay some wood, no pun intended.
Was it like personal?
Right there.
This one right here?
That would have.
Yes, he was a WWE talent recruiter. Yeah.
Is that what it said? I just knew that would have it.
It's awesome.
We're getting Marcel Harris off the field, getting Kwaski Tart a much, much surefire tackler. So that definitely works in our benefit. And another thing to beat in this team is pressures and hits on Kirk Cousins, because Kirk Cousins gets rattled routinely if you get consistent pressure on him, and his receivers get frustrated with him. They yell at him on the sideline, and he just completely ends up cratering. I've seen it time and time again.
I don't think it's going to be a problem for the Niners to get at him or rattle him. I think that's extremely doable.
The New Orleans Saints, who do have their very own pass rush, which is formidable, not as good as the Niners, but formidable, could not get to him last week, could not rattle him. And it definitely showed. You got to be able to hit him early, and you got to rattle him, because if you just let him get into a rhythm, he can pick you apart. He's not a bad quarterback. I know we all like to talk about him like he's a bad quarterback. He's not a bad quarterback. He can actually be a very good quarterback in the right situation.
No, he's just not Jimmy G. That's what I don't like. That's what I like about him.
Yeah. Just not Jimmy G.
James Garoppolo is
I'm so glad.
his heart out.
This is why I'm not a Patriots hater. Jimmy G. We could be rolling. We could be in this exact same position with Kirk Cousins, and we're not. And I feel great about that.
Playing the Vikings with Jimmy G.
Oh, I feel so great about it.
Imagine that.
So that's
Or Teddy Bridgewater.
now the dilemma, or we should at least bring, I don't even know if it's a dilemma anymore, but the talk up until, it'll probably still be talk, but today, Witherspoon was asked, are you starting? And he said yes.
He said yes. Yeah,
I've heard that from
he's
other sources
starting.
too.
So
I've heard that from other sources. I think Witherspoon has shown in the past that he responds well after situations like that. Last year he went through something similar, and when he came back, he was much stronger. I think that he also came off an injury. I think that kind of got underplayed as him not playing well, where he did come off an injury. And when Joe Staley didn't play great off an injury, nobody said we should bench Joe. Well, some idiots did. But the reality is, that it's got to get better when you come off an injury.
Yeah.
I also think he's going to be on a much shorter leash than he's been on.
I
think if
agree
it
with
doesn't
that.
go well, he's going to get yanked real quick. I think not enough attention is paid to the fact that while Witherspoon did not do as well, Marcel Harris was out there and not Jaquiski Tartt, which makes a huge difference, I assume.
yeah.
And just little things like that. I just think he's not going to be on as big of a leash. I think he's the guy that they see as having the more physical talent and being able to play the position better when he's on. And that maybe the big getting benched was a motivator. And maybe all the talk for the last 2 weeks about Mosley starting over him was enough to motivate him. I think that I have full faith that this coaching staff is going to put on the field what they believe to be our best chance to win and make the change if they need to. They've shown that they have no problem telling a guy that everyone thinks is better, that they don't think is better, you're not playing. They have no problem not giving Matt Breida touches when there are times when everyone thought he was better than other people. They have no problem giving Tevin Coleman the start when everybody's calling for Raheem Mostert. They have no problem putting in Brunski. I think that they will do what they believe is best, and there's no other factor.
You're convincing me. I'm more convinced now than I was 2 minutes ago.
And I think if it doesn't go well, they're just yanking.
I mean, if it was my call, I would go with Mosley, just because I don't think that this isn't time that you use to grow up or mature or go through growing pains. Like, we don't have time for that right now. This is the fucking playoffs. On the other hand, you do make some good points about him being probably the most physically gifted player, about how he has bounced back from injuries before. My reservations with Witherspoon is his best games have come against quarterbacks by the names of Jameis Winston, Andy Dalton, Blake Bortles. Like, those are Ahkello Witherspoon's best games. Where's his signature game against a top-tier offense? That's something that I don't think... maybe he has had one and I forgot about it, but that's something that I don't think I've seen yet.
You know, the offenses always say that the trickiest part about game planning a defense is when they come out and they do something you've never seen them do before. We should just roll out first drive of the game with Sherman and Witherspoon flip-flopped and just throw their whole fucking game plan. As soon as they see Sherman go to the other side of the field, the whole offense is going to be like, whoa, what the fuck is this?
Right.
Like, everyone's going to be like, something's not right here. Something's going on.
Right.
Well, as I was just deleting emails, I think I should bring this up from June 17th of 2014, where the podcast had said to me, do you think you'll ever get a phone? Why are texts still going through? What happened to your phone? The fans need answers, Joe.
Oh, this must be when you were really missing.
You went AWOL.
This
were
was
missing.
when, so my reply...
Yeah, you were missing for a while.
No, so this wasn't, so that was you guys replying to this. So my phone broke again, and I'm not real sure when I'm going to get a new one. So how's everybody doing? I completely forgot about podcast on Sunday. My bad. You can email me here for now. I know, I suck. XL. So.
That was when you didn't show up and no call, no show, no nothing.
Hey, that was off season though, so I don't even feel bad now that I look at it. That shit was in June.
I remember that. We couldn't get a hold of you for weeks,
Yeah.
and we were texting, and then I don't know what made me do it. One day I just decided, let me just try calling him. And he answered. like he hasn't been missing or anything. Like, oh, hey, what's up, man?
That's how we roll, Papa.
All right, so you mentioned doing something new, and that would be fucking phenomenal. Even if you're uncomfortable with it, just do it for like a quarter.
Just for a flash. Just like, oh, what the fuck are these guys doing?
Yeah. So what the Vikings did last week, Mike Zimmer, he did something that they've never done before, which is he took their two best outside edge rushers in Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin, and instead of rushing them from the outside, he moved them to the inside.
Yeah, that threw the Saints off.
And they wrecked house because they were clearly not ready for that. And I mean that.
Yeah, well, maybe we do. And Shanahan loves to give someone a taste of their own medicine.
Right.
Imagine we rolled Bosa and Ford inside.
Yeah. So I think that one of the biggest keys to victory in this one is going to come down to the offensive line, stopping those two guys, because I think if you were to power rank the best pass rushing units in the NFL, I would have to put the Niners at number one. But Minnesota is
right
probably number two. And Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin are not that far away from being Bosa, Armstead, and D. Ford.
But they're not us. They ain't us, motherfucker.
They ain't us.
Since you touched on it, let's get right to the keys to victory.
I mean, I think I gave it away. My key to victory in this one is the offensive line. If you keep Jimmy clean and we can run the ball effectively and pound, you can break this team's will just by 8-minute drives, just rushing it. That's my key to victory. It's just the entire offensive line, because I don't know where those guys are going to line up. It's the entire offensive line. That's
I got mine. My key to victory. You said offensive. I'm saying defensive line. It is the motherfucking D line. The key to victory is the boys on the D line getting their fill. Feed those motherfuckers. They need to rip Kirk Cousins' fucking head off. I don't know who their running backs are, but they need to shove Kirk Cousins' head of the running backs' assholes. Everybody needs to get fucking de-headed. The fucking defensive line needs to fucking set the tone. They need to set the pace. They need to show everybody who the fuck is boss. Bah! They were built. Defenses are built for the playoffs. Let's do it. Bah!
I had two about 10 minutes ago, and I lost one of them.
Oh, I thought we both.
But I'm going to say that my key to victory is defensive health. If every player that starts this game on our defense finishes this game on our defense, we win this game. And I have no doubt about that. That highlight on that is D Ford. Last time he tried to come back, it only lasted a couple plays. If he plays the whole game, if Quan is whatever package he's a part of, if he's out there, if he's playing at the end of the game and not on a stretcher, if nobody's carted off, nobody's out for the game.
If Navarro Bowman doesn't come back
Nothing.
and have his whole leg ripped off while making the play of the game.
If all of our active defensive players are still playing at the end of this game, we win this game. And I had a second one. I have no fucking idea what it is.
One is better than none.
All very good points. I completely agree with Joe. If it's not, it's 50-50 key to victory for me. I mean, I just went with offensive, but Joe's head on defensive line. You got to get after them.
And that shores up Witherspoon and Sherman anyway.
Yeah, you got to be able to get after them. And I don't think, if you recall this season, the two worst games the Vikings played was against Green Bay. Their two games against Green Bay, and Green Bay had just a feeding frenzy on their offensive line. If we could somehow mimic that, Kirk Cousins is fucking toast. Because although Kirk Cousins can steer the ship, he can't weather the storm.
Oh!
We need to get at Dalvin Cook, too.
Oh!
Shut Dalvin Cook down.
Wow. Did you hear that this guy just said?
Let's do some predictions.
All right.
Hold on, before predictions,
Okay.
I got a few offensive notes,
Whoa.
offensive stats for our side. Tevin Coleman currently leads the league in percentage of plays of facing 8+ defenders in the box. What that tells me is that defensive coordinators do not respect Tevin Coleman's receiving ability whatsoever. Or maybe it's the fact that we use Tevin Coleman most on first down, where it's most likely to be a rush. I don't know what the reasoning is, but you got to be able to throw some new wrinkles on teams that aren't expecting things. You got to be able to send Tevin Coleman out wide on a swing pass, throw him a pass, show the threat, show that you're capable of doing that. Now, what's interesting about that is that although Tevin Coleman leads the league in percentage of plays with a stacked box, against the stacked box, Raheem Mostert, who has a much higher yards per carry than Tevin Coleman, is 9th in the league against percentage of plays against stacked boxes. The main difference is the results on their efficiency of running style, getting north-south.
East-west.
Next Gen Stats has Raheem Mostert as the 6th most efficient north-south runner in the league this year.
Wow.
While Tevin Coleman is the 5th worst north-south runner in the league this year. And I think that's where you're seeing a serious gap in the 2 yards per carry, because I think Raheem Mostert is averaging 5.6 yards per carry. And Raheem Mostert is averaging 5.6 yards per carry, and Tevin Coleman is like in the low 3s. He has not been good for quite some time. So you got to be able to switch some stuff up there. And to go along with that, their former All-Star, Pro Bowl, All-Pro corner, Xavier Rhodes, is having an absolutely nightmare season.
Yeah, I've heard that.
He is allowing a ridiculous completion percentage of 81.5. 81.5 passes thrown at his defender are getting completed.
Sounds like Debo is about to have a day.
Kyle Shanahan, please exploit that.
Sounds like Debo is about to have a day. You assume they'll put their... do they do what we do and keep them on their same sides, or do they follow?
I was wondering that myself. I tried looking up for some answers, and I couldn't find anything.
And then if they follow, do they follow Debo or Emmanuel?
That's the thing. I couldn't find out.
Whoever they follow, the other one's about to have a day.
Somebody could find out. If you find out, email us and let us know the answer. But what I will say is, while a lot of people are going to be nervous about Ahkello Witherspoon, I guarantee you Minnesota is more nervous about Xavier Rhodes than we are about Ahkello Witherspoon. That's a fact.
Time to exploit.
Fact, Jack.
Another fun tidbit.
Tidbit.
Oh, lots of tidbits.
This guy's got titty bits.
How do I want to word this?
Titty bit Steve.
Oh, wait.
Just
1,
read it.
2, 3,
No.
4.
But,
Okay,
But-
so 7 of the top 8 teams in fewest amount of 20-plus yard plays allowed.
So the worst teams. Oh no, allowed.
The best defense
allowed.
Number 1, 49ers, fewest 20-yard run or pass plays allowed.
Wow.
2, Vikings. 3, Chiefs. 4, Ravens. 6, I think the Patriots are probably 5. 6, Titans. 7, Seahawks. 8, Texans. Preventing
Wow.
explosive plays, 7 of the 8 top teams are still alive.
Wow. So
Isn't that
7 of the
something?
8 playoff teams left.
And the 49ers are number
How about
1 in that category by a large margin.
Large
Marge.
We got 43 plays allowed of 20-plus yards. The next closest is Minnesota at 52.
That's kind of cool. That's a nice tidbit. Steve.
Titty bit Steve.
You like that?
Titty bit Steve.
And
That is by far the worst. You like that? Like that? Like George Kittle yelling "woo"
Yeah.
wouldn't make me mad as a defender. If Kirk Cousins ever looked at me and said you like that, there's no way I'm not getting suspended. There is no fucking way.
I would hit him with a helmet.
How do you not?
Yeah, I agree.
My career might end.
Did
if,
you guys
If
wa-
some fucking grown man looked at me and said you like that, like who the fuck are you? Like, whoa, and especially Kirk Cousins. Are you fucking kidding me?
Did you guys
Kirk?
watch? Did you
Yeah,
guys
who
watch
the fuck names a child Kirk?
Dude,
Sorry.
I'm telling you, like even like what's his, that? Remember that whole Phillip Rivers story with like yelling and blah.
Yeah, yelling in the defender's ear.
I get it,
Yeah.
and I would get mad.
Yep.
But you like that? What are you, 7?
Suck
The
my ass.
fuck away from. I would lose my mind on that one. There's no way I could contain myself.
Did you guys watch the Minnesota New Orleans game?
Yes.
You did, Joe?
Most of it. I never can focus if it's not the Niners,
Yeah,
but I watched
I
it.
watched a good portion of it.
Please tell me you heard Kirk Cousins' voice crack
No, I didn't.
100 million times while he was trying to do the cadence or whatever the fuck they call
I
it.
didn't listen to anything
God,
like
I hope
that.
Bosa cracks his
Like
voice.
a fucking teenager.
He's gonna
It
do
was
more than crack
hilarious.
his voice. He's gonna crack his fucking head.
All right, we'll do
Score predictions?
score prediction, then we'll go to shoe slinger. I'm anxious, so I'm going first. I'm taking it.
Oh, don't I get to go? Oh no, predictions. You could go. That's you.
This game is going to end up being the San Francisco 49ers defense's finest hour.
Wow.
Ooh.
It is going to be an absolute feeding frenzy.
Shut up.
Wow.
I won't go that
Shut
far
up. Shut up.
because if we're talking feeding frenzy on a formidable opponent,
Come on, pussy
we
boy.
revisit the Green Bay game, and even they ended up scoring 8 points.
Oh, you
Okay.
fucking
So
snatch.
they'll probably get a
Shut up.
fucking cheap
Shut
one in
up.
there.
Snatch.
The score to this game is going to end up being 26 to 8.
God, I hope so.
Okay.
Joseph?
The final score to this motherfucker is gonna be 36-6.
Whoa, even more so.
Yeah, we're here.
Can you get current?
Yes.
Can somebody pick a close game? Because I
I
feel
am.
like whenever we
I am,
whenever we
100%.
all unanimously pick blowouts, it ends up being a fucking burner.
First of all, 49ers games do not end in anything other than a last-minute win or loss.
But there's so
Okay.
many. There's so many. We're due. We're due.
Nope.
That's my theory.
27-24. Good as gold. Last-minute
Ah.
field goal. They're going to come back. We're going to be beating them. Kirk's going to put together his game-tying drive. And then good as gold is going to fucking drop a bomb
Jimmy
on
G's
him.
going to drive the
As
field for
time
the
runs
game-winning
out,
field goal.
Nope, not even. It's going to be a long field goal. And good as gold is going to blast that motherfucker through.
In regulation.
At home in regulation time.
He'll motivate the defense enough after
Oh, yeah.
you like that. when
We're
he ties
talking
it up.
like 55. It's going to be a long one.
How?
And there's it's one of those situations where you take the chance because if he doesn't make it, it's overtime.
Right.
So you're going to take the shot.
Right.
He's going to blast it through.
Blast it.
Walk off.
Chris?
I'm going to go 19-7 Niners.
Low scoring game. Comfortable win though.
We gotta wait for Curran. We don't have that yet.
All right. So when that game went to overtime last week, I would be lying if I said that I wasn't rooting for Minnesota. Not because of that's who I want to face, but just to get the Saints out of here. Just get them out of here. I don't even want them in the playoffs because they probably make me the most nervous.
Yeah, especially twice.
Yeah, twice. Yeah, it's just I would rather not. But I was hoping that overtime was going to go the entire 10 minutes, and
just beat them down.
The winning team was going to come out beat up.
Yeah, then
they end up fucking
and then
scoring.
another double overtime because the game doesn't end.
Right.
in
Yeah, just fucking go forever and just even the winning team gets beat up.
Yeah,
but
just beating the shit out of each other.
didn't work that way. All right.
You want a shoe sling?
Shoe slinging. This week's shoe slinger nominees are Austin Cutting. This is fun. I like these against teams that we rarely play because they're guys that
There were some other ones too that I could have picked. This one we might do something else after this too.
So we got
see how this goes.
long snapper, right? LS.
Oh, I think we got Curran's prediction.
Okay.
Oh, it came through.
34-23 for Curran.
Ah!
Niners.
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
Come on, Steve.
Come on, Steven.
Only one of us picks losses around here.
It's a little late for that in the season.
All right. Long snapper Austin Cutting.
Cutting?
Center
Is that like Curran?
Brett Jones, not Brent Jones, Brett Jones, and wide receiver coach Drew Petzing.
Okay. I already have my vote. 'Cause
You already
I
have
know.
yours.
I already know Joe will have a field day with him.
I have yet to see. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness,
that's my vote.
all right. So
Have you seen the rest?
So
Yeah, I
here's-
have. I think Joe would have most fun with this one.
All right,
If we're thinking about the segment.
We're getting some visuals. Okay, Brent Jones, par for the course.
Long time giant.
Yeah. Okay. Ooh.
It's-
Wow.
It's definitely tough.
All right.
But I think Joe would have more fun with the first one. That's my vote. It's a voting system.
Yeah. I'll let Rob vote and then.
I'm
'Cause
gonna put it on Steve then. I'm gonna take Drew Petzing. I'm gonna put it on Steve.
All right. I mean, they're both
Look
fucking.
at that thing.
They're both fucking great. I mean, come on. But all right, let me go the first guy again. God, this is fucking tough. Go down a little bit. I got to see a little bit more.
How about the fact that he's a long snapper and not a punter?
Look at you bending over there. It's got to be the long snapper. That's my vote. Austin Cutting.
Wait, Joe. Wait till we get to the right picture.
Well, you
Okay.
just tell me one.
All right, we're ready.
We're ready. Ooh! No way is this guy a football player.
NFL football
Nah,
player. And not only an NFL
nope,
football player,
nope.
a lineman.
No.
A long snapper.
No. This guy fucks men. No way he doesn't.
No,
He-
I think he gets fucked. Go down a little bit,
That's
Chris.
fine.
I
He's
saw one.
with
Good.
sex.
Right there. Look
He's
at him. Bend it
involved.
over. He's
Listen,
done that a million times before.
He's
Well,
involved.
he's a long snapper.
Listen, it's cool.
This is his job.
It's cool that he fucks men. I just wish he told. I wish he was
no,
proud
he
about
gets
it.
fucked.
Whatever, Steve. You keep saying it. He's involved with sex.
I think what Joe means by he fucks them is he pushes backwards.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
power
yeah.
bottom.
He didn't say he was receiving or
This
giving.
guy is a
but
power bottom.
He's an aggressive
Listen,
receiver.
If you stand there with a hard cock, he will fuck you and make you come. You understand what I'm saying here?
What's great is you don't see that as a negative. Like, you're not homophobic,
No!
but you're using it as a derogatory.
I don't mean to be. I'm just saying that's how it is.
Looks like he's from
What
the,
I'm doing is
from
I'm
the Air
pointing
Force.
out the reality of the situation because he's in a he's the big masculine locker room. Well, he likes cock, and that's the way it is.
Air Force? Is that where I saw he's from?
Can I see
That's
more?
where he went?
I want to see more of his face. He looks like he carries an unbelievable burden. You know what I'm saying?
It
And
looks like that picture looks like a state trooper.
yeah, a little bit. I mean, they all look like state troopers, but I think we know his burden. You know, it's been a long time. He's I look great in uniform. All the signs are there. The signs are definitely there.
You're saying there may have been like a manslaughter in it, that he may
No.
have been.
No,
Or-
I'm saying he's a closeted homosexual.
Oh, okay, that kind of burden.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, we've done this a couple times. Chris, can you Google for me?
Who's this fucking guy?
No, we'll get there.
This is
Just Google Minnesota Vikings coaching staff.
Come rag staff.
and click on down. If you click that link here, yep, it'll give us a picture of all of them. It's clear to me that Mike Zimmer, not being the oil painting of all men, has decided to hire no one good looking on his staff. Wait till you see this fucking staff. First of all, look at Mike Zimmer.
Yep. I mean,
He looks like he's had his face out the window in a fucking hailstorm. It's fucking sleeting and hailing, and he's had his face out the window of his car for 10
looks
miles.
like that iconic like Tom Coughlin picture from Green Bay.
His face is chapped. He's got a fully chapped face.
It's like those
at all times.
It's like those pictures where it's like the photographer just told this man he was cute before he took the picture.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
all blushing.
Yeah, so scroll down and take a look at this staff. That guy,
Kevin Stefanski, offensive coordinator.
look at Kubiak,
Yep.
looking like a real fucking... looks like he's had more HGH shots in him than you could possibly imagine. Right? Joey, are you with us?
Sorry, yeah.
This guy, kid toucher. Rick Dennison, definitely kid toucher. Allegedly.
But like he's
He's kind of attractive.
Well,
hold on,
Palomalu.
wait, go
Any
back to
relation?
Rick.
Any relation to Troy Palomalu?
I'm going to go ahead and guess, being that he looks like he's from the same place as Troy Palomalu,
Right?
that they're related.
Wait, hold on, go back to Rick Dennison up there on the top right.
Yeah, the alleged kid,
Right,
kid
yeah,
toucher.
yeah. But he comes from a time where it's okay. Like in his mind, it's okay. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
He
I don't
still,
think there was any time where that was okay.
yeah, but like he still calls blacks coloreds. You know what I mean? Like,
He only got hired. He's way too attractive for this staff, but he's clearly Kubiak's son.
Yes.
So we hired him anyway.
Clint with a K.
Tight ends coach Brian Periani. That guy owns a Subway.
oh, like really?
Kennedy Palomalu, sumo wrestler, maybe?
Yep.
All right, let's move our way down. Get ready, because it keeps coming, Joe. Whoa, scroller. Come on.
Oh.
You'd think the IT guy would be more adept at the mouse.
This was the other nominee
This
right
was
here.
the other nominee, Joe. Drew Petzing.
Oh,
Who
I
looks
was
like
thinking
an
more
alien.
about AC Patterson. I mean,
All
what
of
the
them.
fuck?
All of them.
But look at this guy, offensive quality control. Suck my dick. That means he gives hand jobs to the linemen.
Drew Petzing is an alien.
Yep.
An actual alien.
Why is his shirt so?
He also looks like if Jed was bald.
Jed York?
Yeah.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, if Jed
He
York
is,
was completely bald, that's Drew Petzing.
He is the uncle of Troy Palomalu.
Ah,
Had to
how
be.
about that?
Nepotism. Runs
All
wild.
right. So what do we got next? Nothing? We outroing?
Yeah, I think
We're at
so.
51.
I think so.
Wait. We're gonna do playoff picks next time.
Yeah, this one's long enough. We'll do them next one.
All right, everybody. Listen, the time is upon us. So if you have that squirrel or that cat that's been running around your yard, now is time to sharpen a blade and fucking sacrifice. You get the blood on the wife and kids. You throw a little bit around the house. Listen, the time is now. Let's get fucking ready here. It's time to stop fucking around. Fuck off.